Now, last night, it was probably premature in terms of my health, but I had been tired of being locked in. I was on Ari Melber's show, and originally I was going on to talk about the Randy Credico interview he had done the night before. Randy Credico, a comedian slash political activist, and I would say now much more political activist than comedian, hosts a show on WBAI, and he was on this show. I think we had him on, maybe it was 5 years ago. I met him once or twice over the years, or I guess 20 some odd years ago when I was a comedian, maybe more actually. 20 years ago when I was a comedian, and wasn't aware of his political activism, and I don't know how deeply he was involved at that time. I think pretty. And there was a great documentary about him, and I cannot remember the name of it, but off the top of my head. But it was shot by Laura Keitlinger. I don't know if she ever released it. I think she did. But that's what I had him on, or I wanted to talk about his activism. He was very instrumental in tackling the Rockefeller drug laws in this state. And he is a bit of a what do you call it? Like a merry prankster type. Yeah. And
he seemed a pretty interesting guy.
Yes. And apparently he got caught up in the, he's been, I guess, interviewing Roger Stone and has some weird relationship with Roger Stone. I'm not quite clear about it. And got caught up as, was named by Roger Stone as the conduit from Julian Assange that supposedly gave him confirmation about different things. And I couldn't make head nor tails of it. But so I was going on Ari Melber's show ostensibly to talk about that. But the Bolton thing came up. And I figured I was going to get bumped, and I'm waiting to maybe go on, and they had a Republican on, it was breaking news during his show, so they had to grab whoever they got. And I heard one guy go on there and say, John Bolton's not that extreme. He has some fairly conservative views on, and I'm literally in not the green room, but the room outside of the glass studio, popping out of my chair. Like, they must have heard me swearing because like literally after that, like Ari brings me in. And so this is what I had to say about Bolton. We're going to talk more about this with Digby, but I also want to show you just because I don't think I've ever looked this gray in my life. But
you look pissed, and rightfully so.
I was pissed, but
That's
I was
good.
also, like, all the blood had drained out of me, and I'm not sure if it was because of Bolton, the fear of Bolton, or the pneumonia.
This is a man who was too radical for a Republican-controlled Senate in 2005 to be ambassador to the UN. So
a lower position than this.
A lower position, far less involved in foreign policy. He is a hardcore neoconservative. He was one of the biggest Iraq war cheerleaders. He was part of a project for a new American century, which was exclusively neocon.
All right, now I got some pushback about the neocon thing. We will talk about that with Digby when she comes onto the program, because there is a distinction without really a difference. And the nomenclature I found always to be sort of tiresome and silly. But we will talk more about that as the show progresses.